Have you ever noticed this? There is someone you follow, they never post selfies, no birthday photos, no celebration pics, no look at me moments. Yet somehow they seem calm, grounded, almost mysterious. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, these people choose to stay unseen. And here is the surprising part. Psychology says this behavior is not accidental. It's not shyness, it's not insecurity, and it's definitely not weakness. In fact, research suggests that people who avoid posting their photos online often share very specific personality traits linked to emotional intelligence, confidence, mental independence, and self-control. So today, we are breaking down the real psychology behind people who don't post their photos on social media. Stay till the end because the final point might completely change how you see yourself and your online habits. Point number 1. They value privacy over validation. Let's start with the most obvious but most misunderstood reason. People who don't post photos usually have a high privacy orientation. This means they deeply value control over their personal life, boundaries between public and private, emotional safety over social attention. They don't feel the need to broadcast moments to make them feel real. Psychologically speaking, they already own their experiences internally. While many people post photos to say, "This happened, please acknowledge it," these individuals think this happened and that's enough. They don't confuse being seen with being valued, and that difference matters more than you think. Now come to point number 2, that is they have internal validation. One of the strongest psychological traits behind low photo posting behavior is internal validation. Most social media users rely on likes, comments, views and shares. This become tiny dopamine rewards, but people who don't post their photos often don't rely on that system. Their confidence comes from self-reflection, personal growth, real-world feedback, inner standards. They don't ask, "Do people like how I look?" They ask, "Do I like who I am becoming?" This is a huge sign of emotional maturity. Psychologists associate this trait with higher self-esteem stability, lower anxiety, less mood fluctuation based on external opinions. In simple words, they don't hand over their self-worth to an algorithm. Now come to point number 3. They see social media as a tool, not an identity. Here is something most people never realize. For many users, social media becomes an extension of identity. Your profile becomes who you are, how people judge you, what you are known for. But people who don't post their photos treat social media differently. To them, it's a communication tool, an information source, sometimes just entertainment, not a mirror of their self-worth. Psychologically, this shows identity independence. They don't feel pressure to prove happiness, display success, look perfect. They know something powerful, that is, real identity is built offline, and no profile picture can replace real character. Now come to point number 4. They are less affected by comparison. Let's talk about comparison. Social media thrives on it. Looks, lifestyle, vacation, bodies, achievements. But people who avoid posting photos tend to opt out of this mental game. By not participating visually, they compare less, envy less, compete less, and judge themselves less. Psychologists link this behavior to lower social comparison orientation. They understand consciously or unconsciously that comparison steals peace. Instead of asking, "Am I doing better than them?" they ask, "Am I doing better than I was yesterday?" That mindset protects mental health more than any app features ever could. Now come to point number 5. They are comfortable with being misunderstood. This one is deep. People who don't post their photos are often okay with being overlooked, being underestimated, being misunderstood. They don't feel the need to constantly explain or prove themselves. This signals emotional self-sufficiency. They know the right people know them. Real recognition doesn't come from posts. Silence doesn't erase worth. Psychologically, this is linked to secure self-concept. They don't need to perform to feel real, and that's rare. Now come to point number 6. They protect their mental space. Posting photos doesn't end at posting. There is anticipation. Who will like it, who won't, who saw it, and who judged it. People who don't post their photos avoid this entire mental loop. They value mental peace over digital presence. Research shows that limiting self-exposure online can reduce anxiety, improve focus, increase emotional regulation. They consciously or intuitively protect their inner world. Not because they are afraid, but because they are aware. Now come to the last point, that is point number 7. It's not always confidence, and that's okay. Not everyone who avoids posting photos does it from strength alone. For some, it can come from past criticism, body image struggles, social anxiety, and that doesn't make them weak. Psychology reminds us behavior always has layers. What matters is awareness. Avoiding posting isn't good or bad by default. What matters is why you do it, how it affects your life, whether it protects or limits you. Self-honesty is the real growth point. Now the big truth. Here is the truth most people won't tell you. Silence online doesn't mean absence in life. Some of the most confident, fulfilled and emotionally intelligent people post less, show less, explain less. They live more. And in a world obsessed with visibility, choosing privacy can be a form of quiet power. You don't owe the internet proof of your happiness. Your life doesn't need an audience to be meaningful. And if you found this content useful, don't forget to hit like. It helps more than you might think. Subscribe for more psychology insights, tips, and personal growth strategies. Share this with someone who might need a fresh perspective on their social media habits. Before you go, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe social media is a reflection of who we are, or is it just the highlights?